Or Tim will put it forward.
I will put it forward. I'd just like to, in response to Will's question, nothing you're doing limits conversations in the community.
No, not at all. And if I might speak briefly to it, we actually thought quite a bit about your comments, and subsequent to our presentation, public meeting, and it didn't find its way into this presentation, but we decided that we're going to build this on top of something called Dolphin, which is an open source social network. So people will be able to play with these tools, but there are tools for doing debates, having chat rooms, message boards, all sorts of apparatus for online conversation, so people can be speaking to issues and engaging with other people on issues using. I'm extremely impressed by the power of this social network. So this would be what it runs on, and I think it's going to do as much as you can in an online environment to produce productive discussion.
And I just want to, Will, my heart is completely with what you just said. Like, there's something that happens when people meet face to face and engage. So that's why that ideation phase, where we do have groups of people of diverse views and values coming together, is so valuable. People actually are seen by one another. They hear. They start to shift their ideas based on what they learn from each other.
Just a follow-up question for John about the wiki. And that's the idea of a moderator. You go to the Bowen Forum and it can be pretty, it's a blood sport at times. Yeah. And that doesn't facilitate the give and take of a good community discussion. So would it have somebody making sure that people aren't called names and that kind of thing?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we would want this to be a productive discussion, and Catherine is masterful at creating the conditions for productive discussions. Yeah.
Okay, I think, is that Michael Cornelius?
I'm fascinated by the mathematical construct of this thing. It's very much along the lines of the financial models that I've created in the past. My biggest concern with this is that how do you ensure that this is truly representative of the community?
Right.
The danger is that we say, okay, anyone who uses Facebook, which I don't, can use this, or anyone who Twitters every day can use this. You're going to come up with bell curves showing distributions and variances from the mean. It'll be useless if it only deals with one sector of the community. So my challenge to you is, how do you ensure that this is truly representative?
So there's two ways that hopefully we can be addressed in that. One is if we have enough resources to do a good advertising campaign to get a lot of participation. And based upon that participation, we'll be able to specify an error rate. But also, we can do demographic reweighting of the information before it goes to process. So for example, if we find that people between 20 and 40 are predominantly participating and people over 50 are not really participating, we can reweight the participation of people that are underrepresented to make sure that the data corresponds to more accurately to demographic profiles. So we can kind of do that readjustment to bring it closer to accuracy.
And the other thing that we would like to do is pair up young people in the community with seniors who wouldn't typically maybe use that kind of a media. So kids from IPS, for example, to go in to Sky or work with them, so that we're trying to sort of do outreach as well, or have a kiosk at the library, and so part of it is just advertising.
Okay, Tim, do you want to?
I'd like to move that council directs staff to organize a meeting between the Bowen Community Center Action Committee and Public Forums to review the feasibility of this project and report back to council.
When you say action committee, you mean should the one chairing now?
I mean,
or
no, the
new
committee would do a process of forming.
Maybe put the next.
It's got to have a different name, so we know what it is.
PCCAC.
Okay. You're seconding?
Are you sure?
Andrew, any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're very excited.
Good. No, but we've got an important topic.
In our audience, members of the Solid Waste Resource Management Advisory Committee and the chair, Don Marshall, and they will be giving a presentation to council.
Before Don starts to speak, I don't want to. I just came back to Nova Scotia, and I know this is it's related to what Don's going to talk about, but it's an interesting thing that in southwestern Nova Scotia, which I happen to know fairly well, Digby County, Yarmouth County, Shelburne County, Annapolis County, Digby County, Yarmouth County, and Shelburne County are the foremost users of solid waste programs, and they've actually won prizes, which really surprised me. And I say that it really surprised me because my sister is a counselor on the Digby County Municipal Committee, or whatever they're called, council. And I was asking her about the various bags, how to deal with, how do you guys deal with it? Because we have to bring it in to focus here on Bowen Island. And she gave me a lesson on it, which was really quite interesting. I know solid waste is not interesting to a lot of people, but we've got to be very interested in it now. And I've had just a short chat with Don about the fact that southwestern Nova is in the forefront in Canada on this issue, which I thought was really interesting. I was there for other purposes. Anyway, Don, that leads to your...
not just in Canada, probably all of North America, in terms of being way, way ahead of the curve. Mayor Jack and councillors, it's a pleasure to be here today. This is a subject I've been working on pretty intensely for several years, and it's good to see it coming to fruition. And I want to thank you first off for appointing me to this committee. You probably never heard that before. But also for appointing the people who are on the committee with me, because they are dedicated, keen, interested, and we're doing great work. So I'm very happy about it. You have in front of you a very short little document which I had to pull together in an hour a week ago to get this on the agenda. It completely took me by surprise. And I have, Casey is out copying another addition to what I've got here. So this first part is really going to be added to. And I'm just going to really quickly pull out of this document the pertinent points, because I'm aware that you all get a huge amount of stuff to read. And in many ways, I apologize for the minutes that come from our committee because they are voluminous, and we're working hard at correcting that. We've been meeting weekly since April 5th. I am the chair, Di Roberts is the vice chair. We have two subcommittees that are meeting almost weekly, an education committee and a long-term planning and technical committee. And we have created, and that's in front of you also. Yeah, I don't have it.
It's at page 18.
Right. What did I do with it? What it is this potential solid waste development plan options for Bowen, which is basically our long-term plan over the next year and a half. And in it, you will see an item that says solicit statements of qualification. I've got to find that thing. Excuse me. I had it out and I didn't put it in the right place here. it's this document that looks like this. And it's an engineering plan, work plan, basically is what it amounts to. And it just lays out 3 phases. The first phase being this first educational activity. And the second phase has to do with compost route. According to the conceptual schedule below, the new composting system could be commissioned during the last quarter of 2013 and in full operation by January 2014. Completion of phase 2 only represents the end of the first step in an ongoing phased integrated resource management development plan. This is all in process. We are pretty much dedicated to trying to keep up with this schedule, but it's here for your information to let you see that we have some pretty clear goals in mind. We have scheduled and are planning a public information meeting this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock. We would be very happy to have members of the council there. And along with that, the articles in the undercurrent and advertisements, connections to the municipal website. We have a connection that's called food recycling at bimbc.ca, which is going to be on that site will be a very complex list of frequently asked questions. This document is also going to be for the use of staff who undoubtedly will get phone calls and to help them resolve all those issues. We've also sent out letters to stakeholder groups asking them to participate this coming Saturday and informing them that we will be available for going to those groups to talk to them about getting food scraps out. One of the things that we've been very focused on is the language that we use in our advertisements is purposefully permissive rather than confrontive. We don't want to say to people, "This is what you've got to do, you know, shape up or ship out." We're making it an opportunity for them to carry forward the work that's already been going on in Bowen in terms of our wonderful recycling facility. People get that. People on Bowen are happy that that happens. They take people, they take guests to see what it's like. And the next step of just taking food out of garbage is not going to be difficult in my mind. Because we're moving rather quickly, weekly meetings, and aware of the volume of information, we are going to take it on ourselves to publish for you just a little executive summary of each of our meetings so that you don't have to go into the whole minute thing, which, as I said earlier, is a bit long. We work on consensus, except for when there are specific recommendations that need to come forward or for the approval of the agenda and the minutes. And consensus with a bunch of interested, keen people tends to get a bit loose, and it's hard to keep it focused. So I feel for our minute taker, Gail Ferguson, because she writes it all down and then tries to pull it together. So our minutes are a bit long. We visited 5 potential sites on the island that might be useful for on-island organics processing, and also to the municipal treatment plant. So we've got in mind, plus Dave McIntosh, our garbage contractor, attends most meetings, participates with us when we have questions, and he is doing a great job. So we're getting our head around this whole issue of solid waste management. In some ways, it's a bit of a stretch for myself because I've always been focused on the organic waste and getting it out and getting the composting facility going. But I know ultimately we've got to get to the problem of a long-term solid waste management plan and a new solid waste bylaw. Those are coming. A question that I raised, Kathy Long sat in on one of our meetings recently, and I raised this question with her, and I'm going to raise it again with the council here. Concern that I have, having been chair of the Zero Waste Committee, when we wanted something to happen, we just did it. We didn't ask anybody to help. But I'm aware that we are a committee of council, and there's a fine line there where we need some freedom to do some things, particularly with the education program, like some of the advertising that we've been doing prior to Saturday, and for July, beginning of separation. So I guess I'm asking how far can we go? How much freedom do we have to make decisions? I know we have a budget that's focused in with Will Hilson's duties, and that we've been using that for some of our advertising costs. And I know that if we make policy recommendations or things that have economic impact, that we need to come to council. But do you have any other guidance for us in terms of the freedom?
I'm going to leave that question up to our CEO.